Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town for this Monday, May 24th. I'm Gary Stevens. It is the fourth Monday of the month, which means during this time slot, we are joined via the Zoom connection with second-term Republican State Representative Brad Slagh. He joins us via the Zoom connection. Brad, good morning. Welcome back to Talk of the Town.
And a pleasant good morning to you, Gary. Thanks for having me in this morning. It's amazing to me that we're already at the fourth Monday of May. It's like, wow, where is this year going?
And next month will be near the end of the first half of the year, fiscal year for some, not for the state. It's not until September 30th. And we'll order the pizzas let's hope we don't have to order the pizzas for the legislature because they have to, get a budget so that the state doesn't shut down. But there are some things we need to talk about with Brad, and all of you out there can join in the conversation at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. I'm going to bring up a point. A caller during our news break last top of the hour brought this up with us off the air, but I'm going to bring it to you on the air because it's a constituent concern. Secretary of State's office. I'm not certain whether or not you are, have any oversight on it, but I'll bring it to you as an elected official. You're not my elected official. It's my elected official is Russ Meerman, but that's Luke Meerman, I should say. I'm on the other side of the county, but concerns about the Secretary of State's office. Somebody needs to get a driver's license renewed. They're still not taking walk-ins. You have to make an appointment. And this person lives in Holland, not with a computer at all, and can't get an appointment. I bring this up because of a concern that caller had, but also the overall concern, and maybe you can comment on this, of what I see reports that the Secretary of State wants to get rid of walk-in service and have everything either via appointment or online or through the kiosks. That one-on-one situation, frankly, should still be in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, Brad, but your thoughts?
I definitely would agree with you that we need to have walk-ins available. Maybe that's certain days of the week or other kinds of, maybe we can set up some things like that to make it so that it's as efficient as we can for the Secretary of State. I understand trying to do efficiency. That makes all kinds of sense as well. But we are definitely working on, from the House perspective, saying you need to be having some walk-in times just available, and you need to have, and if you want to have more appointment stuff, we're willing to look at that. I believe that there are even some bills out there that would tie making sure that there is service, walk-in service, to having funding. So funding goes down. If you're not providing walk-in service, the funding levels would go down for the Secretary of State. The other piece that's just of an interest related to that whole picture is let's just say that your birthday is June 15 as an example, because we're coming up on that date. If you were to go out and try and get an appointment today, you can't get an appointment between now and June 15. So let's say you take the first appointment that's available, which actually happens to be June 18. When you get there, they will charge you a late fee because you're late. Even though you booked it today, way before the June 15th date, you're still getting charged a late fee. I have a bill in that would stop that from happening. If you've created your appointment in advance of your birth date, it would keep you from getting a late fee, and it would actually refund those people that they've taken that money from already.
It would be kind of nice to do, but then the argument that the Secretary of State's office would probably say is, we want people to be using online and the kiosks. There are other alternatives for having an appointment. And just because you can't get an appointment doesn't mean, you have exhausted all your revenues. So they'll throw that argument at you there, Brad.
I understand that, but you still have to, there are certain times when you have to go in. A picture ID, when your picture has to change, you have to go in. So there would be a reason for you to have that. I'm just saying, if you can make an appointment, in advance of your birthday, you should be able to make it in before then.
And of course, the other thing along those lines is the real ID that is going to be now enforced later this year. If you want to fly in this country, you got to have a real ID, and you got to get it. You got to show the Secretary of State's office your birth certificate, and you can't really do that online.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
616-395-1450. Let's get to the phones. Good morning. You're on the line with State Representative Brad Slagh.
Hi, Brad. I am that caller that called this morning. I was on the phone with the Secretary of State this morning for 1 hour trying to get an appointment in Holland to get my license renewed, and they said they have nothing. How in the world am I supposed to get my license, I wonder, and what happens if I get pulled over? I'll hang up and listen.
I appreciate the call. Thank you very much, Brad.
So the idea would be that if you can get your appointment, obviously you're struggling, but at some point in time, you're going to find an appointment available. When I would hold on to my material that shows the date that you got a hold of the Secretary of State's office and their willingness to give you an appointment at some future date, and I would hold on to your other materials to make sure that all of that process is in place. As long as you've got that stuff, my understanding is the state police are not writing tickets. The sheriff's departments are not writing tickets if you can show them that you've made a good faith effort to get there to get your license.
Now, the thing is, along those lines, Brad, how much of a concern is it because we are lifting the COVID-19 restrictions by the governor? We saw that, she made the announcement last Thursday. Some of the, shall we say, grace period for these appointments are going to go bye-bye.
Yeah, as long as the Secretary of State's not issuing appointments, you just have to show that you've made that effort to get your license and hold on to that material. And my understanding is the police officers are not writing tickets when you can show them that.
Well, let's hope it stays that way. Let's get to another call. Good morning. You're on the line with State Representative Brad Slagh.
Yeah, good morning. I received my license suspended, and I had to pay like $125 reassurance fee. Now, I need to take a test to get my license reinstated, and I'll hang out and listen.
I appreciate the call. I'm not certain whether or not you can answer that, Brad, about after a suspended license being able to, have to get the test and all that.
Yeah, that is outside of what I know and related to the law side of itself. So I'm not aware of how that's got to work.
Okay. Again, we're bringing up the Secretary of State's topic with Brad because the Secretary of State's office has reportedly been seeking perhaps to end walk-in appointments and have everything done, walk-in availabilities and have everything done by appointments. And some lawmakers, and Brad's one of them, saying, no, that does not fly. And be honest with you, maybe it's just perception on my part, Brad. But under Ruth Johnson, Terry Lynn Land, and Candace Miller, I really had no problems going through, be it in Holland, be it in Hudsonville, getting my driver's license and getting things renewed in person. Yeah, I might have had to wait a little bit, but it wasn't that bad.
Right.
Has it gotten that bad now? I don't know. I don't know. I've not really been in since the current Secretary of State has gotten in.
Yeah, I think that what you can do is you can build a lot of fluff time into an appointment if you want to. And so I just don't believe that we need to have as many. I think we can put way more people through a system in a day when people are staring there looking at you going, well, when are we going to get ready, rather than locking you outside the doors and not letting you in until it's your appointment time.
Yeah, that's just, I hate to say it, but that's not good. That's not good customer relations, but well, right. When you're the only game in town, you can be able to do that. If you got a question for Brad about the legislature and our laws, hey, he'll take it at 616-395-1450, 395-1450. Brad, let me bring up the subject that came up late last week. Apparently, the governor and the two legislative leaders sort of passed around the peace pipe. They've reached an agreement that will put the governor at the negotiating table for the state budget, but gives the lawmakers future say in any pandemic orders. At first glance, and maybe I'm being naive on this, Brad, at first glance, it's almost as if, that's common sense. That's too much common sense. I mean, shouldn't the governor be part of the budget negotiations, and shouldn't the legislature work with the governor? It just makes too much sense. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. I don't know.
I think you're just an idealist deep inside. The answer is, you are exactly right. Common sense would tell you that this makes perfect opportunity for both sides to be engaged in the budget, to help steer where the dollars, the administration believes the dollars should be, and help to just determine the best utilization of funding. And the legislature should definitely be anything beyond an emergency. I mean, the way that our government is set up is we have an executive inside, which is called a governor for the state of Michigan, and that organization structure allows somebody to react immediately in the midst of an emergency. Once you're past the immediacy of the emergency, the legislature should be involved in that process. So it makes perfect sense. Too bad it hasn't been working like that for the last year and a half. We're definitely trying to bring some sort of normalcy back to that process in the way that things are happening right now.
Hate to be cynical about this, but doesn't this come, 17 months before Election Day? It's the timing of it it could be also put into question.
You know what? At this point in time, any movement in that direction, I think, is a great movement. How's that? This is the glass half full versus the half empty glass.
Yeah, I was being an idealist, and then I'm being a cynic. But I can do that. I'm just a regular guy.
Radio host. That's what you're
I'm just a guy talking on the radio. I get the opportunity to do that. 616-395-1450. Good morning. You're on the line with State Representative Brad Slagh.
Well, good morning. I'm curious regarding the budget discussion you were just having. What does our state constitution say?
About having the governor, having the administration and the legislature put together the budget. What exactly goes into it? Is that pretty much the question you're asking?
Yes, I believe at the federal level that the legislature has sole responsibility for expenses. I believe the House of Representatives, if I'm not mistaken, and I believe that Representative Slagh took a vow to support the Michigan Constitution, and I'm wondering what it says in there, or doesn't he go by the Constitution?
I appreciate the call. I'm going to get to another one, but go ahead, Brad, and answer that, please.
Sure. Absolutely. The legislature is responsible for putting together the budget and having it in place. The piece to that, though, is that a budget is a set of bills, and bills are never approved unless the governor signs them. And so the governor can veto or can do line item veto. So there's other things that can be done. So we need to create the budget. We need to get it to the governor's seat. And we're in the process of doing that. It will be there well in time for the legal responsibilities that we have.
616-395-1450. Good morning. You're on the line with Brad Slagh.
Yes, I have a question about Michigan taxing the retirement income. Mine increased about 3 to 4 times the last 2 months.
That's not good.
The taxes increased 3 to 4 times, or I'm sorry, what increased 3 to 4 times?
The taxing of my retirement income, my monthly retirement income. Michigan's taking a lot of tax now.
I guess I'm not aware of them taking any. That, as far as I know, there's been no additional bills or anything that have created more taxes. So it's possible that you've actually changed tax stratus. So you could be having more income, which would create a higher tax amount. That would be a possibility. I'm not really sure. I would definitely get a hold of your whoever is helping you with your finances to find out if there's something that's creating that. So I would talk to my tax person.
And also, caller, I would say get a hold of the office of your state representative. I'm not certain if it's Brad or if it's Jim Lilly or if it's Mary Whiteford or if it's Luke Merriman, but that office might be able to help you being able to sit down and do it a lot better than what we can over the radio.
Okay, thanks so much.
I appreciate the call. 616-395-1450. Brad, let me ask your thoughts and maybe your reaction over the past weekend. It seems as if we're going to take a while to get used to getting back to the old normal after the new normal of the past 15 months or so with the stay home, stay safe and safer at home. The governor lifting many of the requirements, June 1 for outdoor, July 1 for basically indoor, and it's back to normal to a certain extent. Is it a little weird feeling for you and maybe some of your constituents getting back to somewhat of what we were doing before March of 2020?
Yeah, I think for many people, it's a little weird. There's probably been some really good things that have happened out of this whole process. Let me just give you one. One of the senators, and I just won't use a name, but one of the senators came with a mask on. It was the only senator with a mask on this last week, my understanding, on the Senate floor. That senator said to somebody else, I'm only wearing this because I think I'm coming down with a cold and I don't want anybody else. I don't want to pass it to anybody else. I think there's some positive things that we could use masks for that we just haven't done in America. We just haven't done it. How can we help protect people? That's one of the things I think is a positive idea. Some of the things that are weird is all of a sudden hang on, I've got a weird little message. There we go. So we had all of this impetus, effort put into masks and doing all these things, and it's created just weird dynamics with people, and the shaming process and some other things that have happened that have come about with this whole thing. But most of it's interesting. We've either determined that the science is better or something, because all of a sudden masks are not necessary to be able to keep people alive, and so it's just. In one day, most of the masks on the Democratic side of the aisle disappeared, and I think all of them are gone on the Republican side of the aisle at that point in time. So it will change and is changing things across the board.
One final thing, and I hate to end it on a heavier note, but I'm going to have to. Consensus Revenue Estimating Conference, some of the numbers that came up last weekend, surprised by that, or maybe not surprised that we got a surplus right now?
Yeah, we were sure that we were going to see a surplus, so that was not a surprise. How big that surplus is, I think, continues to grow. The exciting thing is that there's dollars for people to be able to make sure that they've got money in their hand. Personal revenues, personal income is up, and so across the state, that means good thing for people. Now we just got to make sure that as those taxes on those dollars come in to the state government, we're using them for one-time things and not for building programs that are going to need to be pulled or ejected later on.
Yeah. That seems to be one of the key stumbling blocks, is about setting up programs with this money, and then we got to keep it going, and the taxes go up. Enough about that. We got to move along. And one final thing. No, I know State Representative Slagh has in-district office hours, and sometimes it's at a bowling alley. No, he did not. He does not bring his bowling ball with him, so don't challenge him to go bowling.
Thank you. And I'm not very good besides, so please don't challenge me. I hate to lose.
We're not going to talk anything about laser tag. Let's get moving on this edition of WHTC's Talk of the Town. State Representative Brad Slagh, thank you very much for joining us, and if all goes well, let's do this again next month.
Great deal. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much. Brad Slagh, 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.